Hi there, welcome to the channel. Today we'll be talking about Cambridge International AS Level Computer Science syllabus here. So for this video, I'll be guiding you on what to expect if you plan to take Cambridge International AS Level Computer Science exam. And who am I? I'm actually an A-level tutor who teaches A-level students ranging from the age of 15 to 18 on A-level computer science professionally. And previously, I also worked as a senior IT software engineer. So where can you find the syllabus? So if you look at this, first of all, I have google.com open, and then I will be just searching A-level computer science syllabus here. So if you look at this is the first search result. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm just going to click on this result here. And here you go. So this is where the syllabus is, and what you can click is that you can either click on the 2021 to 2023 syllabus, or you can click on the 2024 to 2025 syllabus here, depending on which exam that you are planning to take. So for this video's sake, I'll be just clicking on this syllabus. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to click on this PDF here. And then later on, I'm just clicking on download here, and then we'll be downloading this document into our local PC here. So I won't be going through every single pages of this syllabus, and I will be just doing a summarized version of this PDF here. So let's look into the summarized version then. So let's look into the root overview of this computer science syllabus here. So first of all, we will be talking about AS root. So this is the root that we'll be talking about in this whole video. So what we do here is that we'll be doing paper 1 and paper 2 in one exam series, so that will be 100% of your AS level result. And the next route that you can actually take AS plus A level route, which means that you'll be taking the full A level for this computer science paper. So you can do something like this. First of all, you can take paper 1 and paper 2 in the first exam series, which is going to be 50% of the whole A level. And then you can do paper 3 and paper 4 in the second exam series, which is 50% of the whole A level here. So for this second route, normally you'll take 2 years. So first year you'll be doing paper 1, paper 2, and the second year you'll be doing paper 3, paper 4 here. And the third route that you can take will be the A level route, which is just taking paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, paper 4 in one exam series here. So this is going to be 100% of your whole A level. Definitely for our video, we'll be focusing on the AS route. So let's go into AS level overview here. So for AS level, you have 2 papers. So first of all, you have paper 1, which is theory fundamentals, and then you'll be 1 hour 30 minutes long paper, and it's actually access section 1 to 8 of the syllabus, and it's a written paper, and you'll cover either 50% of your AS level or 25% of your A level. And the next paper will be fundamental problem solving and programming skill, which is paper 2. So this will be a 2 hours long paper, and you access section 9 to 12 of the syllabus, and it's also a written paper, and candidate will need to write answer in pseudocode. So later on I will explain what pseudocode is, and it will actually cover 50% of AS level or 25% of A level. So definitely for AS level scope wise, you just have to take 2 papers, which is paper 1, paper 2, and actually cover section 1 to 12 of the whole syllabus here. So let's go into sections of paper 1 here. So for paper 1, we'll start from information representation. So first of all, we'll learn about data representation. We'll be learning about different number systems such as binary, denary, hexadecimal, and we'll be talking about how do we do binary addition and subtraction. For multimedia, we'll be learning about graphics and sound. We'll be learning about vector image, bitmap image. We also learn about how sound is being represented. And for compression, we're learning about lossy compression and lossless compression. So for chapter 2, we're learning about communication. So in here, we'll be learning about networks, including the internet. So we'll be learning about different hardware that's used to support the local area network or the internet, and also learn about different type of IP such as public IP, private IP, dynamic IP, static IP. So basically, we learn anything that's related to the internet for chapter 2 here. For chapter 3, we'll be learning about hardware. So we'll be learning about computers and the components. So first of all, we'll learn about different type of hardware that's being used to support computer, such as your printer, speaker, microphone, etc. And then we'll be talking about also RAM versus ROM. We also talk about logic gates and logic circuit, whereby we talk about different type of gates such as AND gate, NOR gate, and their relationship. And we also talk about how can we form the logic tables out of all these gates. For chapter 4, we're talking about processor fundamentals. So in here, we'll be talking about CPU architecture. We will talk about what makes up the CPU architecture. We will talk about assembly language. We'll be talking about how can we convert assembly language into machine code, what is opcode, what is operand, and how can we trace a given assembly language. We also talk about bit manipulation. We talk about how can we use bit manipulation to monitor and control a device. For chapter 5, we're talking about system software. So we talk about operating system. We talk about what are the key management tasks that are carried out by operating system. Then we talk about language translator. We talk about what are the different type of language translator, and we'll talk a bit about IDE, which is the integrated development environment. We'll be talking about what are the functionalities offered by the IDE. For chapter 6, we'll be talking about security, privacy, and data integrity. Here we will talk about data security. We talk about what are the ways to make sure your data is secure. And then we talk about data integrity and what are the ways that make sure that your data always have data integrity. So this is a pretty interesting chapter. From chapter 7, we will be talking about ethics and ownership. Here we will be talking about why do we have to join an ethical body and what is copyright and how can we act ethically based on a certain situation. And inside this chapter, we also talk a bit about artificial intelligence, which is AI, and what is the ethical impact of AI to the society. Next will be databases. So inside here we'll be talking about databases. So here we'll talk about the key terminology that's related to database concept. We will talk about normalization such as first normal form, second normal form, and third normal form. And then here we have to talk about database management system. So we are talking about the features that's being provided by the DBMS. And also we talk about DDR and DML. So DDR is actually used to create database or create table. And we talk about DML, which is data manipulation language. So this is used to query data. We learn about how can we write a SQL query ourselves to get the data that we want. So after going through paper 1, so let's look into paper 2. So for paper 2, we have algorithm design and problem solving at chapter 9. So inside here we talk about computational thinking skills. So for this one, we are just talking about decomposition and abstraction. Basically just teaching you how can you break down a complex problem into a simpler problem. Then we talk about algorithms, we talk about what is algorithm and how can you represent algorithm using pseudocode, flowchart, or even structure in English. So for chapter 10, we're learning about data types and structure. So we're learning about different types of data types and records such as integer, string, and etc. And then we're learning about arrays. We learn about 1D array, 2D arrays. Then we learn about how can we handle files and how can we write pseudocode to handle files. And then we're learning about introduction to abstract data types such as stacks and queues. Then we talk about chapter 11, which is programming. So for this chapter, we're talking about programming basic. So this one actually will tell you how can you write a proper pseudocode from scratch. And then we talk about construct. So we talk about if statement, else statement, case statement, and talk about structural programming. How can you write procedure or how can you write functions? For chapter 12, we talk about software development. So inside here, we talk about program development lifecycle. We talk about different type of program development lifecycle and why do we actually need program development lifecycle. Then we talk about program design from structure chart. Then we talk about program testing and maintenance. How can you test your code and how can you identify error in your code? So this is chapter 12. So compared to paper 1, paper 2 only have 4 chapters compared to 8 chapters in paper 1. So let's look into a sample pseudocode question that I take from the past year paper, which is from May-June 2021 paper. So first of all, this is the question. You'll be asking you a procedure preview will take the name of a text file as a parameter, output a warning message if the file is empty, otherwise output the first 5 lines from the file or as many lines as there are in the file if this number is less than 5. So please write a pseudocode for the procedure preview. So this is actually the sample question from the past year paper. And this is the official answer for this question. So first of all, we create a procedure called preview. And then this will be the input file. And then we'll be just declaring some variables here, which is the line number and this line is a string. And then after that, we'll be just opening the file to read. And then if you reach end of the file, then means that the file is actually empty. Means that once you start reading the file, it's already empty. So we just output warning message. So this is what we're trying to do here. Output the warning message if the file is empty. So we have done this here. And then if the file is not empty, we'll just start from line number equal to 1. And then we are making sure that we always read until line 5, which is this one. We only read the first 5 lines of the files. So we'll be putting less than 6 here and not end of file means that making sure that if we haven't reached the end of the file. So we'll be just reading a file and reading a line here and then we'll just output the line. And then after we outputting the line, we just increase the line by 1, and then finally we just end the while loop here, and then we will end the if statement, and then we will close the file, and then we'll just end the procedure. Definitely from the first side when I go through this in a very fast manner, you'll get a bit lost, but definitely once you do more practice and you learn about chapter 9 to chapter 12, this will be more straightforward for you. Definitely don't be afraid when you look at this and think that you're not going to score for this exam. It's quite doable once you know how it works. So I'm just giving you a heads up on what you'll be expecting for the pseudocode question for this paper 2. So what should you do next then? Definitely I will highly recommend you to try out AS level computer science to check if this is cup of tea. So just try to do your paper 1 and paper 2 for AS level, and if you really like AS level computer science, just go all the way to A level route later as well. So once you finish your A level computer science, you can actually use it to apply for a computer science degree. Definitely from what I see right now from the global trend, computer science graduate definitely is in a high demand right now, not just now but in the near future as well. So definitely feel free to try out computer science. I also realized that there's not much online materials regarding to this A-level computer science subject, so I'm actually on my way to create a full online class on this A-level computer science. Definitely I will start from covering the AS level first, and I'll be covering the A-level on the later phase. Yeah. So definitely feel free to subscribe to Haguin School mailing list on the link below to be notified as soon as I launch my online class for this computer science subject. Yeah. Thank you, and I will see you again then. Bye bye.